everybody, Sarah and Adam here. So once again, we find ourselves carpooling to work.
We find ourselves, huh? It's more like you said,
What?
I'm riding with you today, and that's all there is to it.
That is an exaggeration.
Okay.
Okay. It's the second time this month Adam's had the privilege of riding with me to work. Right, honey?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So anyways, together again. I've been traveling this week. Got to go to a couple places. And as we see more and more landscape companies, as we are entrusted to work with them and get to know them and hear what they're doing awesome and hear what they need help with and what they're struggling with, I have a question for you, Adam. And he doesn't know.
Uh-oh.
He does not know what I'm going to ask him. But how do you know if you're making money?
How do you know if you're making money?
Truly, how do you know?
Well, you know if you're making money if, number one, you can pay all your bills and bring home a paycheck, personally. And number two, you know you're making money when you are having good cash flow coming in.
Okay. How would you know that?
How would you know that?
Define what you mean by that.
Well, that you're
mean?
receiving the money from the clients. You're receiving your money from your clients. They're paying you. Hopefully, they're paying you on time. You're getting your invoices out. It's a whole cycle of.
Not psycho.
I know. I said cycle.
But you made the symbol.
Well, I'm like round.
I
as
know.
a cycle.
I'm just teasing.
But no, I mean, yeah, it's the whole cycle of invoicing. Well, getting the work first of all. Profitable work, invoicing.
Well, how do you know if it's profitable work?
Because you have a budget and you know when you build an estimate.
But that's the thing. Not everybody does a budget, and you didn't always do a budget.
You're
either.
right. You're right.
So how did you know?
And I survived.
You did.
Yes.
But how do you know? Or if you're at that point, you know better now. But if you were when you were at that point that you didn't do a budget and you didn't know what, like in black and white, using that information, what was profitable, how did you know if you were making money or not? Well, did you?
Well, like I said, to me, it goes back to paying yourself. I think that's a good indicator.
Okay.
That if you can afford to pay yourself and still have money left over, then I think you're making money.
Okay.
Is that fair? Kind of?
Yeah. There's no right or
wrong
here.
Well, my point is that like years ago, I would just take a draw. I would take whatever money was left out of the company, and there might not be any money left out of the company, so I wouldn't get a paycheck. But what I started doing back 20 years ago, whatever it was started paying myself minimum wage. Mm-hmm. And that at the time was like
start somewhere, right?
$6-7 an hour.
Were you worth more?
Of course, I was worth more. So, no, seriously. So I started paying myself minimum wage and got comfortable with that. And then as I got comfortable with that, are you comfortable?
Anyway.
Yeah, back to what I was saying. So after I got comfortable with that, I started paying myself more, $10 an hour, $12 an hour, $15 an hour. And I thought to myself, what am I worth? What other job could I do that I enjoy? What do they make? At the time, that was law enforcement, and they were making $40,000, $50,000 a year at the time. And so I made it a goal to start paying myself exactly that, and start having money left over, obviously, to make sure to pay my bills and everything.
Well, and depending on how your business is set up, too, your accountant's going to suggest, hey, you probably need to pay yourself a salary, or someone's going to start asking questions eventually.
Sure.
So there's that, too. But as far as how do you know if you're making money or not? If you're not tracking financials, what comes to my mind is if you've got an accounting system like QuickBooks, Xero, anything to just keep track of your money coming in, money going out, then you kind of have a thermometer, right, in that respect. But not everybody does that. So if you don't do that, and if you're not to the point where you understand what the financials are even telling you, if you're looking at them, how did you know you were making money back in the day? And my concern is that some owners aren't making money and they don't know it yet, and then all of a sudden there's no money there.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thing.
It is.
For me to think of for them, like that pulls on my heart because I don't want that to happen.
And one more thing I want to mention too is that we just realized back a couple years ago, literally 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that we weren't making hardly any money at all, like on the residential mowing.
Well, right, yeah, we
You know?
learned that the other divisions were completely supporting mowing.
Yes.
They
And so
were
mowing
moving
was
up.
like a lost leader, and you have some pros to it, to where maybe, you know, you're being seen a lot more out and about as your crews are working, and maybe you're able to sell more landscape installs jobs because of being seen. It's kind of like an advertising type possible platform, or however you want to call it. But we weren't making money in residential mowing, and so now that we realize that, we're making money in residential mowing.
And we did realize that because we used these tools that are available. We used our data from our accounting software. We used LMN budgeting and put in all of that work up front.
Yeah.
And obviously that's going to pay off for us, because we know jobs that we're going to pass on because they're just not. I mean, when you first start out, you're hungry, right? You're hungry for work, and you're going to take on a lot of stuff that you probably shouldn't. And then when you get to a point where you're more established and comfortable, you can be more selective. And I'm not saying that's the way to do it. I'm saying that's just seems to be the natural progression for most people.
Well, you know, and back to the mowing thing, as far as not making money in residential mowing, when we realized that, the thing that got me was, okay, if we're not making money on a landscaping job, it's a one-time deal. We're going to make it up next time, hopefully, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're doing mowing, you're visiting the property 25, 30 times a year. And I just feel like that you're kind of taking that hammer and just kind of keep hitting yourself in the head every time you go there and do that job.
Well,
So,
the thing is, people work so hard. I mean, we see people who are working so hard, and they're working in the field, they're working on their business, and they're working crazy hours a week and missing time out with their family, and it's for nothing sometimes. And you don't want to. I mean, you're giving up stuff, and don't give it up for nothing, especially. And in some cases, you're actually losing money.
yeah.
You're losing money, and you're losing time with your family. You're losing what you really want to do and what's close to your heart sometimes. So I guess the takeaway is, please figure out where you're making money, and if you are, if you're not, and if you need help doing that, we're absolutely ready to help you do that. And you can find us at Facebook, The Green Executive, or thegreenexecutive.com. Thanks.
Take care.
Enjoy your day.